For more now on the historic Supreme Court ruling from Kansas City, we're joined by Chris Kobach. He is the Kansas Secretary of State. He is a co-author of the law. He's also author of the E-Verify measure, the more recent anti-illegal immigration law now under review by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Came forward as Senate Bill 1070. Joining us from Washington, D.C., Congressman Brian Bilbray, Chairman of the House Immigration Reform Caucus. Joining us in just a moment from Phoenix will be the Attorney General of the state of Arizona, Tom Horne. Thank you all for being here, and I want to say to you, Chris, this has got to be one of the more gratifying moments in your career to see the Supreme Court uphold your work product, if you will.
Well, it really is, and you know, Lou, this is it's a victory not just for Arizona, but for a lot of other states and cities that have used the same language. We inserted language into the Arizona law to make clear to the courts that we were deferring to the federal government. Only the federal government gets to decide if a particular person is authorized to work in the United States. Only the federal government decides what is an immigration classification that counts. And Chief Justice Roberts' opinion noted that, and he said Arizona went the extra mile in making sure that their law tracks the language of federal law, and that's really a good omen for future decisions, because Arizona's SB 1070 does the exact same thing, and other jurisdictions around the country do the exact same thing.
Other jurisdictions, including municipalities like Farmers Branch, Texas, Hazleton, Pennsylvania, Nebraska, I mean, the list goes on, municipalities that have acted in much the same way, using licensing as a tool for enforcement of anti-illegal immigration measures. This is support for them. Is it definitive?
It certainly is. In terms of the E-Verify laws that other states have passed and other cities have passed, it is definitive. There is no way they're going to lose in court now that the Supreme Court has said you can do this. And in terms of the other aspects of these laws, discouraging the harboring of illegal aliens in apartment buildings, the Supreme Court opinion offers a lot of support for them, too, because, again, it says as long as you rely on the federal government's determination of status and federal definitions, you're going to be okay. And I think that's really important to note here, that it's going to provide support in a lot of contexts.
Right. Congressman Bilbray, the importance of the Supreme Court decision today, I described it as historic. How important is it to efforts in Congress to stem the illegal hiring of illegal immigrants in this country?
Lou, the timing couldn't be better, because you've got Democrat Schuler carrying the SAVE Act. You got the chairman of the Judiciary Committee ready to unroll the new E-Verify, making it a national program. So really it is a perfect timing to say, look, there's one place that Democrats and Republicans can agree on, and that is E-Verify. So rather than finding excuses to constantly walk away, let's approve E-Verify, something that is not only is politically acceptable to Democrat and Republican, but the fact is acceptable to the Supreme Court with a supermajority. I think it's quite clear now's the time to roll and concentrate on the real source, and that is the employment issue.
And with that, let me turn to the Attorney General, Tom Horne of Arizona, who is obviously called upon to defend these laws. And now with Senate Bill 1070, that law now before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, this make you feel a little better, Mr. Attorney General?
Yes, it definitely does. The Ninth Circuit ruled against us in a 2-to-1 decision. We're appealing that directly to the U.S. Supreme Court. And I think today's decision helps because both cases, the Senate Bill 1070 and the Chamber of Commerce case, both involve federal preemption. And in the Chamber of Commerce case, the United States Supreme Court said there would be a very high threshold to achieve federal preemption in this area of immigration. So that will be helpful to us. You've been talking about E-Verify. In the dissent, Justice Sotomayor said that E-Verify imposes on the federal government's use of resources because it was made voluntary in order to save resources. The majority didn't buy that, and we have the same issue in Senate Bill 1070, where we say that our officers have to check with ICE to see if the people they arrest are here illegally or not, and one of the arguments against us is that we're making them prioritize their resources. So there's a refutation of that argument as well.
Well, those arguments, those niceties, the fact is that it seems to me as a layman that the power here is that the Supreme Court has just ruled that in supporting federal law, the states are in no way infringing upon the supremacy of federal law. Is that a correct interpretation, Chris?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's a bullseye. That's exactly right.
Okay.
And that's what we've been trying to do all along. In Arizona, in state after state, city after city, we've been saying, look, as long as we support federal law and we trace the outlines of federal law, then we're helping, not hurting.
Absolutely. It'd be like saying that a police officer couldn't arrest somebody for drug possession because, or catching them crossing the border with drugs because that's quote unquote a federal issue, and that's absurd. But what we really have, Lou, now the states have won this victory for the American people. We have the Chamber of Commerce has to confront an issue. Do they want to have state by state mandate that everybody use E-Verify, where we have 15,000 businesses join every time, or do they want us now to support in Washington that E-Verify become the standard? Employers won't be forced to use the old I-9, which everybody knows doesn't work, or does he want to have them continue to have to do I-9 and do E-Verify at the same time? And I think it's now the time for the Chamber to accept the days of hiring illegals are coming to an end. Work with us. Let's work together, Democrats and Republicans as Americans, and we can take care of this problem with E-Verify.
Take care of the problem with the hiring of illegal immigrants. That has to happen relatively quickly. It can now happen irrespective of what the leadership wants in either the House or the Senate, or for that matter, what the president wants. This looks to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll start with you, Attorney General Horn, this looks to be a way for every state to make certain that they are doing everything they can to stem illegal immigration.
Yes, I think you're